What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can automate sending invoices to clients using Stripe. And on this other automation, after the client has made the payments, I'm going to show you how you can set up this automation to update that the particular client has made the payments on your CRM, which in this case we are using Monday.com. Let's get started. We are starting this automation by setting up a webhook. When the client has a call with a prospect and the call was a success, we turn the status of this prospect from awaiting call to awaiting payment. After we turn our status on Monday.com from awaiting call to awaiting payment, using this webhook, it will run and it will get the particular data of that specific client and update the column for the specific client to create a proposal for this client. Now, after the proposal has been created, we're going to wait for a few hours so we can send them an invoice. And here's how we have automated the invoicing process using this automation right here. So the first thing we're doing is we are creating a customer. So here you will add the description, email, name, phone number of the customer. You'll also add the address, city, country, postal, state. You'll also add the shipping address, city, country, postal, state. You can also choose to add the shipping address name and phone number. You'll also add the payment method. You can choose to also add other details like the balance, coupon ID. After adding all the details about your customer or your client, we will now begin creating our invoice item. On our invoice item, you'll add the customer ID, which you'll get it right here. You'll input the amount, either total amount, unit amount and quantity, or by existing price object. I'll choose total amount. Here we can add an amount, let's say for example 100, and you should note that the number that you add right here is in cents, so you can multiply by 100 to convert it into a single dollar. The currency, we can say the dollar sign right here. This is our currency. You can choose to add a description. We'll have a description right here. For a period, it will start from now, so you can add now, and then here we can choose like 2 days later. So if today is the 9th of June, let's say we would like to end the period to 2 days later, which is 11th of June. Now, after creating our invoice item, we're going to click on OK. And right here now we can begin the process of creating our invoice. To create our invoice, we need to add the customer ID. Our customer ID is on the previous module, which is the customer ID right here. For the collection method, instead of choosing charge automatically, we're going to choose send an invoice. We're going to choose days until due. We can say 2 days. And then the due date, we can pick a due date, let's say 11th of June as our due date. And add a description right here. For example, the type of service that you're selling. You can add email marketing if you're offering email marketing, or cold email services if you're offering cold email services. You can add here on the description. If everything looks perfect, we're going to click on OK. And the last module that we are going to add right here is finalize a draft invoice. And here we're going to add our invoice ID, which we're going to find it right here. And then click on OK. So the first thing we did on this automation is we created a customer. So over here, we added all the details about the customer. We can begin the process of creating an invoice for them. So the first thing we're doing is we're creating an invoice item. Where here we're adding our customer ID and adding the amount in currency and adding our description. After creating an invoice item, we are choosing the create invoice module on Stripe. On this module, we are choosing the customer ID, which is right here. And then the collection method, we're choosing send an invoice, and then choosing how many days until it's due, how many days until the invoice is due, and then the actual specific day the invoice is due. And then we add in the description. And then after creating our invoice, we are finalizing the draft of our invoice and adding our invoice ID right here. After the client has received the invoice and has made the payments, we will set up this automation right here to update that the client has made the payments on Monday.com using this automation. So here we are watching the payment intent and updating our Monday.com of that specific record of the prospect. So to set up the automation here on Stripe, we're going to add watch events as our trigger. So on watch events, here we'll create a webhook. You can rename our webhook to watch payment intent. and then choose a group. So here, instead, we're not going to choose invoice now since we already created our invoice using this automation right here. Now, what we will do right here, we are going to choose the payment intent. Now, since on this automation, the client has already made the payment, we are going to choose the payment intent succeeded, then click on save, then click on OK. And now we're going to retrieve all the data of this specific client or customer so we can update specific record on our CRM, which in this case we're using monday.com. To retrieve the data of our customer, we're going to add the customer ID or the client ID, which we're going to get all the data from our webhook right here. After the client has made the payment, we are going to get the customer ID from with the customer ID. Here we can choose to select all so we can get all the data of our customer and click on OK. Now here we're going to list all the board's ID. So for example, onboarding ID, then click on OK. And then on Monday, we're going to update our status as onboarded. The item ID, we can map it and then choose the ID. And for the column ID, we're going to change our status to, here we can either choose index or label. And here we're going to label it as client onboarded. And then click on OK. After our status changes from awaiting call to awaiting payment, this automation will call our webhook and it will get data of our client and then create a customer, generate an invoice, and send an invoice to our prospect. Now, after the prospect makes the payment of our invoice, this automation will call our webhook right here of that specific client. And then this module will retrieve all the data from that specific client. And with the data that we retrieve right here, we are going to use that data to update the record on our CRM, which in this case, we're using monday.com, and updating the column status to client onboarded. That was a quick video of me showing you a Stripe invoicing system that we are currently building for a client on make.com. It involves changing the status from awaiting call to awaiting payments so the automation can run and call our webhook right here and generate a proposal and create an invoice for our client, like I showed you previously using this automation. Now, after the client receives the invoice and makes the payment, we have set up this automation to update on our CRM that the client made a payment and his status will change from awaiting payment to client onboarded. So here we are watching the payment intent, and if the client made a successful payment, we are retrieving the data of the client and using the data to update the status of our client to client onboarded. That was a quick video showing you how you can set up a Stripe invoicing system for your agency, for your business, or for your clients. You can choose to remove these modules and only run it like this. So here you're waiting for the webhook to change from awaiting call to awaiting payments. And you can begin by creating the customer data, creating the invoice item, creating the invoice and finalizing the invoice and sending it to your prospect. Now, after the prospect makes the payment, you're watching the payment intent right here if it was a success, and then retrieving the data of the particular client who made the payment, and then updating your CRM with the data that you retrieved right here on this module. So this is a simple automation that you can set up right now to automate invoicing clients and updating your CRM by setting up this automation right here. If you have any automation idea, question, or concept that you would like for me to create on a future video, just comment down below in the comments. And if it makes sense, we'll create a video on that specific idea, topic, or question. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.